Welcome to the Reds Reviews podcast brought to you by BossAction.com. And right now at BossAction, there's a $3 promo that is running all the way through the Super Bowl. It does include everything you could want in the paperhead market. $3 all the way through the Super Bowl. No reason not to check it out at BossAction.com. Now let's get on with the Red Show. All right, what's going on, guys? How are you? This is Red. It is the day or two before the Super Bowl. Today's Friday. When I'm recording this, you'll probably hear this by Saturday, so it's the day before for you guys. Either way, we're here and we're talking about management, big bets, and all kinds of stuff that's kind of prudent for this time of the year, right? Like the NBA is running and it's going well, and you know there's been some games that I've seen and I've had to actually lay off action just because it's been so lopsided, right? A lot of teams that people predicted were going to be good are good, and it's going to make the season a little bit iffy for me, at least as far as things go. And overall, I think, you know, to close the year out as far as our, you know, NFL fiscal year, if you want to call it that, right? It's looking like there's going to be a lot of action on Brady. And it's because you got the stigma of don't bet against the GOAT. Don't bet against the GOAT, especially somebody who just landed at a team. He just decided to pick, essentially, and was like, yeah, all right, you want to go to the Super Bowl? Fine. And so they ended up going to the Super Bowl, and here we are. And so I've seen some stuff where some guys have laid, you know, $2.3 million on some stuff like that. I don't have any players that big, thank God, because I wouldn't have the bankroll to do that just yet. I've been in this business for a long time, and you know, I mean, I could handle some big stuff, but nothing that big. But again, so let's talk about what's on my sheet, at least on that front. And right now, I'm looking at, you know, like I said, a pretty lopsided Tampa Bay thing, and I'm probably going to try and lay off as much as I can of that just because I don't want to take too much risk. I already had a relatively decent season thanks to all the other casinos and everything else. I don't need to necessarily just clean house on one game and make a bunch of money on one game if that's going to be the case, whether they win or lose. And for the time being, I'm doing okay as far as that goes. So I'm not gonna take the risk. I'm just gonna make it so that it's basically an even wash as far as juice goes and whatever else. At least for my sheet, that may be different for you guys depending upon where you're from. And again, setting your limits accordingly to whatever your bankroll is. Don't let a game like the Super Bowl ruin your entire year, because it can happen. There's guys that will max out everything they can for this, and it's not uncommon for that to be a thing for the weekend. One of the other things too that's going on right now is a lot of college basketball stuff is happening. Another cool thing that did get announced is that I know that maybe some people don't follow the Madden series or any of that kind of stuff, but there is going to be a college football Madden, essentially, again. It hasn't been around for quite some time. I think the last one was in 2012, and there's going to be actually players have the opportunity to be in this. And the reason that they killed it last time is because there was payoffs and stuff that were happening in that arena. And as you know, in the college football, the NCAA does not approve of any kind of like transactions or anything along those lines. So seeing that come back is cool because it means that they're starting to realize that regulation on these fronts and letting these college students make some money on the side, if there is a case where they do get paid for using their name in the video game, is a big deal. And it's something that I actually believe in. I think that these kids should be allowed to make money prior to the NFL. You know, I was watching a guy talk on a Streamer Bowl thing that was being broadcast on Twitch. And this guy was talking about being signed as a rookie. He's his fourth year now. He's always been a backup. He's never been a starter, and he gets his $400,000 or $600,000 a year because he's not a first stringer and he's not a starter. You know, guys like Baker Mayfield, they get a rookie signing contract. They're guaranteed like $10 million, right? But the guys that are smaller, the undrafteds, the whatever, they go and do tryouts, which are or whatever, and those are the lucky ones too that do end up getting picked for that. You know, still make 3, 4, 5, maybe 700, maybe $1 million, you know, on first signing. If they're lucky, they get a signing bonus, right? So you look at that in perspective. If they are somebody who's big in college and does not make it into the NFL as a starter or even a third string, they still have the opportunity to cash in a little bit on the risk that they take going through the body stuff, right? Like, 'cause when you play football, you get banged up, and that's just how it goes. You have a very short-lived career for the majority of these guys, and that's why they always talk about Brady. This guy's old compared to the rest of the crew. His his opponent in this game, Mahomes, could be his son, technically. Right? That's how big the age gap is right now between the two people going into the Super Bowl. It's old legacy versus new. And it is going to be something. There's a bunch of, the ESPN commentators, the CBS commentators, all these guys talking about get used to seeing Mahomes in the Super Bowl or the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. And that's true. It's true. The guy is good. The guy is very good. And if he stays manageable, ego doesn't get too big, things don't get too crazy, he doesn't get hurt, he will definitely be one of those contenders that stays in this like a breeze, like an Aaron Rodgers. And over the years, right? Like, it's not going to happen overnight, but he's definitely showing real control ability, right? He's not somebody that goes out there. I don't see him in the headlines too much, doing too much, ridiculous stuff. Like the Ocho Cincos of our day, and what was the other guy? The Marshawn Lynch, and beast mode, right? Like they did some stuff, and they ended up getting in the headlines because of their persona carries off the field, and it ends up being a problem in certain areas. So yeah, I think that it's going to be a good weekend. I think that overall, as far as what's coming in, it is pretty lopsided, at least on my sheet. I don't know what it means for you. I do know that if you are somebody who is wary of this and they're looking at trying to mitigate exposure and locks and just things that are scary to you, always keep your limits in that realm that's comfortable. I also wanted to talk a little bit about what's been going down with the props and the resellers. So the props have been doing really well for me. Okay, so and the reason why I say it, because like I told you guys in the previous podcast, I do run a website that I give to a guy, and he pays me a monthly or weekly balance, right? That we settle up whenever his headcount rates are due, or this, that, the other. So. First, I'll talk about the props, which is doing well. And it's going to be something that's going to they're going to have player props throughout the Super Bowl on different guys, all the major names and everything, which is always fun. It gives my players another reason to keep playing. And I would recommend, if you have the opportunity, to at least try it on one of your guys, if you do have the ability to get that in there. Now, if you're a sub agent or somebody who's got a master agent that you're basically under and you can't really get the control, just ping them and say, hey, let me run this for the Super Bowl and see how it goes. It's $2. It's $2, and it's worth it. The majority of people have the live wagering, and that'll also be in there, for me, obviously. So, but as far as what's been going on with the casino has been great, right? So it's been a little bit of a dead time in between. There is the NBA and college basketball running, but at the same time, it's not the same volume as the NFL, and that's just always going to be the case until maybe somehow, some way, another one of these leagues ends up getting the same kind of traction. But because of the live dealer percentages that are added into the reseller tool that I was given, right? This isn't a cost thing. I was given this tool and they were handed it to me and said, hey, check this out, set this up, and you can see it, and you'll see it in your weekly balance. I'm able to make a little bit on the side extra based on what is coming in off of the agent that I actually help run his site. And for somebody like me that's been doing it manual for a long time, I think it's huge. I think it just goes to show how much this particular website gives us as far as understanding the business that we live in. And that is something that you can't find all the time. There's a lot of places that are, they branched off, they did this, they're that, they were the post-ups offshore. They don't actually exist in our realm when it comes to being somebody on the ground, dealing with the person-to-person transactions, dealing with the balances and the debts and the collections and all that kind of stuff. These guys put up a site and hope that it works because they have lines and some stuff that they put out there. And I just don't feel that that's the case. I feel like the guys that I'm dealing with when I call in or ask questions or don't call in and just chat or whatever, write the message thing that they keep pushing on me, which is good. It's encrypted and all that kind of stuff, but I'm the type of guy, I'm a little bit older, that maybe wants to give a call. So as far as whatever I deal with, they generally have a pretty good knowledge base of things that help me run my business, and that's what's important. So I think I'm going to cut it right there. I just wanted to mention the fact that if you do have some big bets coming in and whatever I was on, whatever I'm seeing, my sheets are definitely lopsided, which is fine, but layoff's the thing, and they also have that part of the business that helps me, and we'll be around to see the next day. We'll live to fight another day through this process because of that. So hope the odds are always in your favor, and we'll check in next week after the Super Bowl. Let's go. Thanks for tuning in to the Reds Reviews podcast, brought to you by BossAction.com. Opinions expressed on this show are not the opinions of BossAction.com. And again, any promos or relative information about this company, please check them out at BossAction.com. And we'll see you next week. We hope you have a great one, and thank you for tuning in.